Do you actually need to pass an exam to join a clan? How much will a gun mount affect the ship's appearance? And how important is April 23rd? All these questions will be answered in today's episode of Warships Weekly. As you might know, most players in World of Warships have a clan, and even though most of them don't have any limitations for new members at all, the clans who participate in clan battles, they often have a high expectation for players. And if you want to get into one, either your win rate, PR, or sometimes both will be considered. During last season of clan battles, there has been a clan on Asia who actually has an entrance exam, bringing the entrance to clan to the next level. You have it right, it's an entrance exam to filter out who's beneficial to the clan and who isn't. So this clan name is called Hafa, Chinese being their mainly used language, and to be honest, if you see a competitive clan on Asia, you can pretty much assume that they're Chinese based on the amount of Hurricane clans we actually have gotten this season. The Hafa actually placing second on the leaderboard. So enough with the talk, let's see what this entrance exam form is. First, you need to fill in your ID and then experience in clan battles, but after that, there comes the exam. And the first question is going to be, it's not actually a question, but you need to fill in a graph which has every single ship's concealment listed on the map example on the forum. So the second part of the exam is to roleplay each individual ship on the map, 14 in total, and list out their game plans. Fortunately, the guys, they did fill in some of the grids for you. For example, the Somers is supposed to smoke the Minotaur and contest the cap with the Minotaur's radar help. So the third question actually requires applicants to figure out which team has a better chance of winning the game, and the fourth one wants to know how you'd adjust the team lineup to gain an advantage. And honestly, when I started to read the third question, I came to a conclusion that this shouldn't be a clan's entrance form. It should be a practice for a tournament caster. For example, if you're going to cast Warships Spring Championships, or if you're a shot caller, if you're actually making World of Warships a test, it just doesn't feel right. Something else that this practice or this exam hasn't even thought about, even considered, is that usually if it's a surface versus surface lineup, then you will not know the enemy team's positions until 3 or 4 minutes of the game, when most of the ships are actually spotted, maybe 5, maybe even 6 minutes. So World Warship, it's like a chess game, but each side they actually move all their pieces around for like a while, and then they reveal the board to the opponent. And maybe that's why World of Warships is just exciting to watch, because you don't see it coming. It's just full of surprises.
Friends, what the fuck?
A rat is good, Corin, but a drive-by is even better.
Yay, 5k on run
I
now.
don't think I'll be able to drive by him.
You see,
but
this
I'll
is
try.
actually one of the rare chances for you to practice your rush. You see?
Low. Rush!
Why toxic?
No, I'm
Toxic.
What happened? What happened?
What the get top?
What?
Get top? Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Today's ship of the week is Lightning, launched on April 22nd in 1940. And instead of talking about what she has actually done through the war, I mean, yeah, as a destroyer, she's basically been escorting ships. I like to focus more on the design of Lightning, of this, Lightning class is called the L class. And she came out pretty much along with the M class, well, the L and M class. They were destroyers designed to have improved anti-air defenses because of World War II's breakout. So the British, the Royal Navy, they did design a new gun mount for the class, which was made this class honestly rather easier to recognize once you get the hints and get an idea of what's so special about this class. So what this gun mount is meant to do is, first, it's supposed to have 120mm guns mounted on them, and even though like the first few ships of the L class had 102mm, it was not that big of a problem when it came to surface versus surface gunfights because, you know, just shoot faster. The second thing about this mount, I've actually forgotten to mention the name. It's called the Mark XX twin mounts. These guns, even though these 100mm guns, they were supposed to be dual purpose, they were actually a bit short-handed in shooting down planes, because their maximum angle upwards was only 50 degrees. And for comparison, in the Pacific, the IJN had guns that could go up to 70 degrees, which still sucked, and the Americans, they had 5-inch turrets which could go up to 85 degrees. But it doesn't mean that the British, they can't raise their guns up. But this doesn't mean that the British can't lift their turrets up. In fact, they can, and it was even though I did not mention it in last week's episode of Warships Weekly, the Ark Royal did have a 4.5-inch gun that could angle at about 80 degrees. It's quite impressive, but the downside is that these guns, the mounts, couldn't really fit on a destroyer. So in the end, they kind of just took a step back and then mounted these guns that didn't have that good of an angle. But despite the weaknesses of these mounts, the LNM class destroyers were actually the first to get a dedicated anti-air fire control radar, which first it compensated for the weaknesses, of course, and second, it was just better than the Axis ships in every single way. A feature actually pretty obvious with the Mark XX mounting was how far away the twin turrets were, the guns were away from each other, where the ammunition supply system was between the two barrels. So if you think about it, they actually do look kind of like the United States destroyer guns, the 127mm. Another fun fact about all of the British destroyers, they did have a feature where the wheelhouse, it's just kind of like the driver's seat, the cockpit, they were designed to see both guns in front of the wheelhouse. And in the L class and the M class, they because of how the B turret, there are 3 turrets in total, the A, B, and X, the second one in the front, the B turret was rather higher than the other destroyers of the Royal Navy. They had a higher wheelhouse where the roof was almost flat. Almost. Kind of flat, but not entirely flat. So basically the side view of the Lightning and her sister ships are much cleaner than the other Royal Navy destroyers, which it's pretty easy to distinguish, not gonna lie. Fun fact, another fun fact. Lightning did once have a dog on board. Her name was, actually I don't know if it's him or her, but the dog's name was Flash, and it was gifted to her from a Norwegian merchant vessel. And meanwhile, I couldn't really find footage or pictures of the dog or a lot of footage about Lightning. Yeah. And in the end, Lightning was eventually sunk by catching 2 torpedoes from a bunch of German torpedo boats after continuously heavy fighting for a couple days in the Mediterranean. First, blowing off her bow, and the second, hitting her engine room, so she was basically had no chance of surviving. And that will be the end of this week's short episode of Warships Weekly, but not until I answered the final question. How important is April 23rd? Apparently, April 22nd is Earth Day and also Lightning's launch day. But today, April 23rd, it's actually not a special day. The only special part about it is also my birthday. So I think it's quite an important day for me. So I just got 20 years old and I feel like hella old already. But anyways, thank you for watching this video till the very end, and please share the content if you do find these series, the series informative or entertaining. I'll try my best to update the series on a weekly basis, even though I'm going to cast Warships Spring Championship. It's still a hard name to memorize. So please subscribe and stay around for more. And I'll see you guys next time. See ya.